else. Hold on, let's do this. Let's back that up a little bit. A tiny bit. I'm going live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, and every time I do this, it makes me late because I'm just trying to do the most right now. But I want to get the most out of my content, so I think it's okay. I feel like it's okay. It should be okay. Let me get a little bit of backlight going on in here. Okay, what's up, y'all? We're talking about boosting your engagement with buyers, not just everybody. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up my Nizotes, because when I do these lives like this, where it's like a listicle and there's a lot of things going on, like I have to have notes because I want to make sure I give y'all all the goods. And that is also why I stopped and got coffee this morning, because I said, you know what? I'm drinking my caffeine. I don't care what they say. No, I'm playing. My doctor said it's okay. My doctor said it's okay. I'm only drinking a tall. It's not a grande. So my unpopular opinion is that you can be both popular and paid, and most people try to make you think that you can only be one or the other, right? Like they think, hey, people say things like, hey, would you rather be popular or would you rather be paid? Well, boo, I want to be both. Like, what's wrong with that? Nothing at all. Welcome to the community. There's nothing at all with wanting to be both of those things. And so today we're going to talk about ways you can boost your engagement with buyers, which is the crossover in between being popular, right? Like having an increase in engagement, and also being paid, having an increase in engagement with people who are potential buyers, likely to buy, and not likely to buy in the next 3, 6, 9 months, likely to buy this week or next week, like very close. What happens a lot of times is that, and I've done this a million times, I pull in an audience, I do all the right things to, garner an audience, to attract attention, and they are my ideal client, but are they ready to buy? A lot of times, in my past at least, they have not been ready to buy. And so over time, I've had to adjust the way that I market my business and the way that I market myself to not only grow my audience, but also to fill those audience seats with people who are ready for the transformation that I provide. Because it's not just, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. It's, here's what's going to happen when you work with me. Here's what's going to happen when we get into a coaching program together. This is the level of feedback that I can give you. This is the level of insight that I can give you. And so boosting your engagement with potential buyers gives you the opportunity to not only make more money, but also impact more lives, which is what we do this for in the first place, right? So let's go ahead and jump into these 6 ways. Way number 1, ask a question at the end of your captions. So when you post, if it's like a story, you know how people do selling with stories. So if you post and you're telling some type of story, or you're talking about your experience or something along those lines, make sure that you are adding a question to the end of your caption. This is going to incite people to participate and engage with you. It gives them something to comment, right? If you're just posting content and there's no prompts or questions at the end, or thought of the day, or whatever you want to call it, if there's nothing at the end of it, then people don't have a reason to respond. So you need to give people a reason to respond. So number 1 is ask a question at the end of your captions. Number 2 is a call to action to DM you. So at the end of your captions, you want to put a call to action that says, hey, send me a DM if you want to chat more about this. Send me a DM if this sounds like something you're struggling with. Send me a DM if you want more information. Send me a DM if this topic interests you and you'd like to learn more about it. Whatever you want, however you want to say it, using that at the end of the caption inspires people to, not inspires them, but it motivates them to actually take action if they felt something when they read that post. So there are people that are going to read your posts. And by the way, none of this even matters if you're not posting consistently, but I'm not going to say that because y'all already know. Show up every day. But it doesn't matter if somebody, well, I'm not sorry, it doesn't matter. There are two different types of people. There are people that read your post and they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. They may like it. They may share it or save it to a friend, whatever. They may do that, right? Then there's people who read your post and they feel some type of emotion. Sometimes it's a happy emotion, sometimes it's a sad emotion, sometimes it's angry, sometimes it's conviction. There's a wide range, there's a wide spectrum of emotions. But there are people that read your post and feel emotions. And what you want to do is you want to capture the person who reads that post and feels some type of emotion, because that person is most likely to be a buyer. And we normally don't take action unless we're feeling something, okay? Feeling something. That's when we take action. Logic is involved, right? There is logic involved. Like, people do price check. They do, look at the numbers. They're like, can I afford this right now? Is this the right time? There are a lot of logical thoughts that go along with making a purchase, but most of those logical thoughts are started based off of an emotion. And it's not always pain. I know we often say, like, pressure to the pain points. Make sure you're talking about the pain points. But it's not always pain, right? People buy out of joy. People buy out of pain. People buy out of anger. People buy out of stress. A lot of people buy out of stress and anxiety. And so any type of emotion, you want to make sure that you never know how your post is going to hit. So you want to make sure that when you get that post up, that there is in the end of the caption, DM me to whatever you want to say, because that gives them a direction to take that emotion or a direction to take that motivation, so they know how to deal with what they are feeling, okay? Number 3, the third way to boost your engagement with potential buyers: upsell to helpful paid content at the end of your free content. So it is great to give away free content. I give away a ton of free content. I give away a lot of value on Instagram, in my emails, on YouTube, in Facebook groups. I do free live series. I do a lot of free content. I still make a lot of money. Why? Because I upsell at the end of my free content to the next level paid offer. Whatever the next step is, if you're watching this right now, this is free content. Whatever the next step is, after you watch this video, I'm going to upsell that to you at the end, because that's where you should go if you're watching this video and you feel like, I really need more of this, or I really need help with that, or I feel like this can really change my business, this can really increase my bottom line. You should take that next step. By the way, shameless plug, what I'm going to upsell you to at the end of this live is my 7-day sales intensive. Because if you're watching this right now and you're trying to boost your engagement with buyers, you want to be popular and you want to be paid, you're going to need to develop your sales mindset and your sales skill set in order to do that. And I have a 7-day intensive for that. So we'll talk about that at the end. But it makes sense. It's like, this is the appetizer, and then you've got the entree. So it's the same thing with you. You've got the appetizer, which is your lead magnet. So whatever your free download is, whether it's an ebook or a workbook or a worksheet set or a masterclass, or this can count as a lead magnet, even though people are not giving me their email address right now. It's leading you to somewhere. It's magnetizing for leads. In a system sense, I don't count it unless you're getting their email. But you guys are coming into my brand visibility. You are now inside of the community if you're watching this. And so you being in the atmosphere, you have been magnetized. And so I'm doing this, and at the end, I'm going to upsell, and you should too. You can do this at the end of your lead magnets. You can put links to book calls, links to tripwires, All that kind of stuff can be inside of your lead magnets and inside of your downloads, and it should be, okay? It should be. Number 4, be transparent about your pricing when talking about your offers. This is one that people will argue about back and forth, and honestly, it depends on who you ask. Every coach has their different opinion about this. I feel like being transparent with your pricing actually boosts your engagement with potential buyers, because a lot of people will allow price to hold them back from progress. A lot of people will allow price to hold them back from progress. I suggest being transparent as you possibly can in order to combat this. But don't be that person. You want to be transparent with your pricing so that your audience is cool with it, so that your audience has a clear expectation of what they're going into, so that they don't get sticker shock. But you don't need to do it either. Do not let the price of something hold you back from progression. Because what happens is when you opt not to pay for something that you know you need, not to pay for something that you know you need help with, it takes you a lot longer to reach your destination. It takes you a lot longer to hit your goals. So, and that's a part of selling too. It's like, hey, do I want to make more money? Yes. What is the quickest way to get there? Pay for help. Like, period. It's going to be the quickest way to get there. Because if you could just so easily teach it to yourself, you wouldn't be on the struggle bus. You wouldn't be on a struggle bus, okay? I did it for a long time with CPA, with money management. Tried to do it myself this is my 6th year full time. This was my first year. Well, last year was my first year having a CPA. I was on struggle bus for 5 years because I didn't want to pay for it. Okay, so it comes, each new level of business you hit, there is going to be some mindset block that has to do with price, that has to do with paying for things. But just be aware. So for your audience, be transparent with your pricing. Because you're going to attract people who are actually ready to pay when the price is out there in the open. Okay, out there in the open. Okay, number 5, don't be afraid to call your ideal client out and be specific with who they are. If you serve single moms, don't be afraid to say, hey, single moms, good morning. Don't worry about everybody else. That's not what you're here for. Everybody else is somebody else's assignment. These folks are your assignment. So call them out. Be specific. Hey, like I just said, hey, I know you're struggling because you don't want to pay for things. And you not wanting to pay for things is slowing down your progression, and it's slowing down your ability to hit your goals on time and to execute. Because you don't want to pay for stuff. I'm calling all out specifically. I'm not doing it in a way where I'm like, shame on you. I'm doing it in a way where I did that. Please don't make the mistake that I made. Don't make the mistake that I made. That's like one of my biggest assets as a coach, is being able to stop you from making the mistakes that I made, to help you avoid the potholes that I ran over. I don't want you to hit the potholes. It's not fun. So don't be afraid to call your ideal client out and be specific. Hey, I know you're dealing with this. I know you have this going on. I know you have these types of challenges. I know that sometimes it feels like this, but you would rather feel like this. Be specific. Be specific. If it's single moms, it's single moms. If it's not, it's mompreneurs, do it. If it's people over 50, do it. I did a coaching yesterday inside of a private group with a coach who works with women over 50. If it's women over 50, say it's women over 50. The women in their 40s aren't going to be offended. They don't care. They just know it's not for them. They just move on until they find somebody that says this is for women in their 40s. And they're like, okay, I'm in the right place. So you calling out your they'll just keep on moving to the next location. Okay, they'll keep on moving to the next person. And last but not least, number 6 is a CTA to comment for more info. So this is another call to action strategy that you can use. At the end of your captions, you want to put comment below for more info. Drop me an emoji if you want to know more about this. Drop me an emoji if you want somebody on my team to send you the link to grab this offer, or to enroll in this, or to set up a discovery call, or to take a quiz, or whatever it may be, right? So it's a call to action to comment for more information, or to comment for more conversation. The key to sales is this, right? One of the biggest keys to sales is getting into a conversation where you can actually identify the gap in between where somebody is and where they want to be. When you can identify that gap, it makes it a lot clearer to that person the value of what you offer, getting them from one side to the other side. So instead of saying it's valuable, it's valuable, it's valuable, it's valuable, it's valuable, and trying to explain to people who don't even know they have a problem, or don't even know that, you know, they have an issue, or it's an issue and they don't want to solve it right now, instead of trying to explain your work to people who don't see it, it's a lot easier to sit down and have a conversation with someone that knows they're struggling, help them identify their gap, and then tell them, hey, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I'm seeing, and here's the solution we have for you. It's just like when you go to the doctor. What are your symptoms? How are you feeling? Okay, let's run some tests. All right, here's what my diagnosis is. Here's the solutions I can offer you. Which one would you like? How often do you go to the doctor, they tell you all of that, and you leave with nothing? Never. You leave with something. You leave with something. So you want to get into those types of situations where you are diagnosing someone who has actually come to the doctor versus trying to diagnose random people on the street, like, that don't even have a care in the world about what they're struggling with. So when you're just posting like random content, I'm going to post this, 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 blah, 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 blah. That's marketing to everybody. You don't want to market to everybody. You want to market to the person who's walking into the doctor's office and is ready for a solution. Okay? And you want to state your price transparently so they know, okay, let me go get my insurance card, or let me be ready for this self-pay. Either one of those two. Sometimes the self-pay is cheaper than health insurance, but hey, whatever. This ain't politics. It's business. It's business. All right. So let's run back through those 6 ways to boost your engagement with potential buyers. I am going to put this in the replay for you guys. Number 1 is ask a question at the end of your captions. Number 2 is call to action to DM you. Number 3 is upsell to helpful paid content at the end of your free content. Number 4 is be transparent about your pricing when talking about your offers. Number 5 is don't be afraid to call your ideal client out. Be specific with who they are. And number 6 is call to action to comment for more information. If you watch this live and you found it helpful, and you know, wow, I really need help with selling. I really need help with making more sales, showing up on social media in a way that attracts buyers. And what do those conversations sound like when I'm in the direct messages, or I'm on a discovery call with someone who is warm, like I'm on a discovery call with someone who has qualified, they filled out an application? What does that sound like to have that sales conversation? What does it sound like to ask those questions and diagnose that person and identify where the gap is, so that when I offer them my program, or I offer them my coaching, or I offer them my service, it makes clear sense that they should invest regardless of what the price is, right? What does that look like? If that's you, I highly suggest you send me a direct message with the word sales, and I will respond with information on how to get into my 7-day sales intensive. It is paid. It's $297 for the 7 days. It's group coaching sessions every single day for those 7 days. It starts on May 2nd, so it runs from May 2nd to May 8th. The coaching sessions are at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the exception of one day, but I'll give you more details about that. But the coaching sessions are at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are not able to make it to the live sessions, you do actually get replays, but I'm only accepting 10 people. I'm only doing 10 people for this, and 3 of those spots are taken. So I really only have 7 spots left, because we talked about this yesterday, and I offered it to a couple of people like a couple days ago. So there's 7 spots left. It's a sales intensive. So you can be scared of sales and come into the sales intensive, or you can be scared of sales, not enroll in the sales intensive, and then just keep going on about your merry way. But guess what? That's you letting price stop you from progression. Don't do it, boo. If you know you need the help and you're ready to move into a newer version of you as an entrepreneur, you're going to need to learn sales skills. Selling is not icky. It's not, I'm going to force people to buy this. It's not, I just want everybody in the world to enroll in my program. It's about being able to specifically identify who is a good fit for what you offer, and having great listening skills and having a conversation with that person. Okay? And a lot of that is required. Like when you're selling $20 ebooks, $30 such and such, $40, $50, whatever, you don't have to have a lot of sales skills, because most people that buy, if someone's buying normally at a lower price, they're buying based off of price, and they're buying based off of a lower price because their problem is not that big. If you want to work with people who are going to have big transformation, they're looking for a lot of change, they're willing to invest, they've been through some stuff, and they're like, I've been through a lot of stuff, I don't want to go through this no more. Who do I need to pay to get what I need to get? I don't care what price it is. When you start working with people like that and you start charging 4-figure prices, which is anything over $997, you need sales skills. Because you need to know how to communicate. Not only, you know how to attract that person, first of all. Then you need to know how to communicate to that person why it is the solution that you're offering is going to be the thing that's different for them now. Because the person who's spending 4 figures on something has already tried other stuff. Normally, your first purchase to solve a problem is not 4 figures. Your first purchase to solve a problem is lower. This is kind of going into extra innings because it's not in this live content. But normally, when someone spends $1,000 on something, they've already spent $50 on this little something, or $100 on something, and $200 or $300 on this, trying to solve that problem. And it didn't really work out how they wanted to, or it worked a little bit, but not all the way, or it wasn't a complete solution. When you get to people who are spending 4 figures, that's someone who's looking for a complete solution. So you have to be able to communicate in a certain way. That's what the sales skills are for, okay? So sales is not icky. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about sales mindset. Like I said, we'll talk about sales strategy. We'll talk about like building up that confidence to sell, attracting that person, all those specific things. So 7 days, it is going to be 7 days. There's a workbook included. You get access to the replays. And then I'm going to start a private group chat so that everyone, the 10 people, and I can only do this with 10 people, but starting a private group chat so that people can ask questions in between the sessions if they have them, because I want you to actually take the information from the sessions and use them during the 7 days to make higher sales. That's the goal. The goal is to get you from making no sales and small sales to making higher sales. So if you're only making $200 sales right now, I want you to make a $400 sale. If you're only making $400 sales, I want you to make an $800 sale. Okay? You may only be making $20, $30, $40 sales. Let's get you to $100 or $200 sales. Get that first big jump for you, okay? All right, I'm getting off of here. I have lots of calls today. I moved my calls are normally on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I moved my Monday calls to today. And my Tuesday calls to today. All right. Thank y'all so much for joining me. See you later.